Hey yo, what's going on guys? This is a Survival Hunter PvP guide for 9.2.5. In this video I'm going to be covering the race talents, covenants, conduits, legendary stats, tier gear, and some of the 2v2 and 3v3 arena compositions that you can play. Right before I jump into this, I'm streaming at twitch.tv tar_wow, it'll be in the description below, but let's jump straight into the video. So for races, the best one on Alliance side is Human. Humans get Will to Survive, which is a 3-minute cooldown that removes all stun effects. They also get a racial passive, the Human Spirit, which increases all their secondary stats by 2%. Moving on to the Horde side, the best option is going to be Orc. They have a passive called Hardiness, which the duration of stun effects are reduced by an additional 20%. They also have Blood Fury, which is on a 2-minute cooldown that increases your attack power, that is great for burst. They also have the racial Command. Damage dealt by pets is increased by 1%. Moving on to the talents. For the 15 row, we're going to be looking at Alpha Predator. 25 row, Guerrilla Tactics. 30 row, the best option is going to be Camouflage. This is very good for strong openers, and as well, whenever your pet dies, you can feign death, camouflage, and revive your pet. For the 35 row talent, we're going to be looking at Bloodseeker or Steel Trap. Both are very good options. Steel Trap is very good versus melee. It's not dispellable. The 40 row talents, we're going to be looking at Post Haste. Binding Shot is definitely an option here you can take as well. I personally take this versus Demon Hunters or Windwalkers. The reason being, Binding Shot does not break on damage. Demon Hunter's sole mission is to get back to their healer to reverse magic the trap, and this prevents them from doing so. Looking at the 45 row talent, you can look at Tip of the Spear or Flanking Strike. You can play either one. Tip of the Spear is more consistent damage, while Flanking Strike is more of a burst option. You would want to line this up with your trap, which is on pretty much the same cooldown. For the 50 row talent, we're going to be looking at Wildfire and Fusion. Moving on to the PvP talents, we're going to be first looking at Roar of Sacrifice. This is going to be baseline. You're never going to not have this. This is going to be a huge counter to things like Fire Mage Combustion, which relies completely on critical strike. You want to line this up with the enemy team's burst. A second one that I take all the time is Survival Tactics. Whenever you feign death, you take 90% reduced damage for 1.5 seconds. Extremely good. The third PvP talent, you're going to switch it out depending on what you're facing. We're going to be taking a look at Mending Bandage. This removes all bleeds, poisons, and diseases. This is very good versus Feral Druids, Assassination Rogues, and even Survival Hunters. You can remove Flayed Shot with this, making it huge. The next one we'll be looking at is Tranquilizing Darts. This is super good versus Resto Druids. Dragon Scale Armor, magical damage over time effects deal 20% less damage. You can run this into Shadow Priest or Affliction Warlocks. High Explosive Trap is definitely a good option if you're having trouble kiting from a melee team. You can knock them back and get a charge that you normally would not have gotten if you did not run High Explosive Trap, making it just a little easier on the kiting. Diamond Dice is also a good option if you're facing double dispel teams. Maybe you're facing a Shadow Priest and Demon Hunter and you're having trouble with reverse magic and mass dispel. And then the next one is Wild Kingdom. If the enemy keeps targeting your pet, then this can definitely be a good option. Chimeral Sting, this is a really good one as well. Whenever you throw it on an enemy, they're slowed by 90% for 3 seconds. And then for 3 seconds they're silenced, and then 3 seconds they deal 20% reduced damage and healing. This one is good for literally anything versus casters, and then every team has a healer. You can Chimera Sting into trap. Moving on to the Covenant, we're going to be looking at Venthyr. This has the most consistent damage. This is going to give us an ability called Flayed Shot. This is going to make them bleed for shadow damage for 18 seconds, and every time it ticks, it has a 15% chance to make your kill shot free, and you can use it on any target at any percent health. Also, the damage is increased by 25%. This ability is on a 30-second cooldown, so you're going to have it with every single freezing trap. The next ability is Door of Shadows. This is a teleport. It has a 1.5 second cast time on a 1-minute cooldown. So for the Conduits and the Soulbound, I take Nadija the Mistblade. I go with Thrill Seeker, you get more haste. Empowered Release, it's going to give you an additional 9% on your Flayed Shot to proc your kill shot, and it deals 9% additional damage with your kill shot. Agent of Chaos is really good for whenever you can Door of Shadows on top of the enemy healer for a trap, or you can Door of Shadows on top of DPS to peel. And this is this is actually 3 seconds in PvP, not 6 seconds. I go with Reversal of Fortune. Anytime you successfully interrupt an enemy with a muzzle, you get 14 focus. Rejuvenating winds for this endurance spot. Whenever you exhilarate, it heals you for an additional 20% of your maximum health over 8 seconds. You can also use Marksman Advantage instead. This is really good versus rogues, and Condensed Animosphere is not terrible. The next one, you can go down either path. So if you go down the Finesse Conduit, take a Buscade, you get Dauntless Duelist if you take this route. Whenever your first enemy you damage in combat is marked with Adversity, you deal 3% more damage to them, and they deal 1.5% less damage to you. Also, this is really good. Or you can go down the Potency route, get Familiar Predicaments. The duration of incoming interrupts, snares, and root effects are reduced by 15%. Pretty sure this does not stack with Relentless. So keep that in mind. If you're running Relentless, don't run this. Run Dauntless Duelist 100%. But you can run this if you want to. I take Strength of the Pack. When kill command cooldown is reset, gain 7% increased damage for 4 seconds. The reason for this is the tier gear. It plays into that very well. So you can play either one of these. Stinging Strike is a Potency Conduit I play all the time. Raptor Strike damage is increased by 9%. This goes well with your Tip of the Spear talent. Nimble Steps and Resilience of the Hunter. This is a really good one since your legendary, which we'll talk about in a minute, you're constantly Feign Deathing. Whenever Feign Death ends, you take 10% reduced damage for 8 seconds. And your Feign Death is on a 15-second cooldown with your legendary and everything like that. So 50% of the game you're taking 10% reduced damage. Really good. And then Fatal Flaw, you're going to get haste from the Euphoria effect, and then you're going to get 20% versatility whenever that ends for 10 seconds. So for the legendaries, you're going to want to go Craven Stratagem. This is going to make your Feign Death on a 15-second cooldown, and it's going to remove almost all negative status effects from yourself. And this includes things like Flayed Shot, bleeds, and just everything. It removes dots, curses, so Unstable Affliction, and whenever you remove it with this legendary, it does not hit you like it normally does for a huge chunk of damage, and silence you. It doesn't do either one of those. And whenever you Feign Death off Shadow Priest dots, it does not fear you. So it's super good. The next legendary you're going to have is Clasp of Unity, which is just the Unity legendary. It gives you Pouch of Razor Fragments as Venthyr. Whenever you get the kill shot proc from Flayed Shot, it's going to bleed for however hard you hit the kill shot for. It's going to make them bleed for 60% of that damage. Everyone around you, and for over 6 seconds. And this is not going to break traps. You're going to put Unity on your ring, and then Craven Stratagem, you're going to want to put it on your necklace. So we're going to be looking at the stats. The top one you're going to want is versatility. You want around 30 to 35% versatility. And then haste. You want about 25 to 30% haste, and then 20% crit around there. I just don't have those stats right now because I don't have the gold from a legendary personally, but that's what you're shooting for. Moving on to the tier gear, I have the helmet, shoulders, chest, and the gloves. I don't have the legs. These are for stat reasons. Now, whenever the 2 set is whenever you kill command, whenever it resets, has a 40% chance to make your next wildfire bomb incur no cooldown. And then the 4 set is when your wildfire bomb deals 30% additional damage. The rest of it, the 80% additional damage you see, that's from the legendary. It's not that good. And this 2 set actually goes into your Alpha Predator talent, your Guerrilla Tactics talents, Bloodseeker goes with the kill command, Tip of the Spear goes with the kill commands, and then Wild Infusion goes with the bombs. So all these talents really work up with the tier gear. They work really well with it. Super good. So for the pet, you're going to want a cunning pet like a raptor, and you're going to want an undead version and a non-undead version. The undead version cannot get polymorphed, can't get hexed, it can't get put to sleep by druids, but the undead version can get CC'd by priest, paladins, and then Ret Pally Wake of Ashes stuns the undead pet as well for 4 seconds. You also want a tank pet because they have a 20% reduced damage ability that they can throw on somebody for 6 seconds while you are stunned. Very good versus a rogue mage, but the cunning pet also does give a freedom on a 45-second cooldown that lasts for 4 seconds. These pets also have a Mortal Strike ability just like warriors where they reduce healing received. Moving on to the 2v2 and 3v3 arena compositions that are very good with this class. For 2v2, the best two healers that you can play with are Resto Druid and Holy Priest. Holy Pally is really good as well. The other healers are not as good at all, so if you're trying to push rating, then you would want to stick with these three. For 3v3 arena, 3 compositions that are really good are Jungle, which is Feral Druid, Hunter, Priest, you can also play it with Pally, or Shadow Priest, Hunter, Resto Druid, you can play it with a Resto Shaman as well, or what you've been seeing in this video in the background the entire time, which is Hunter, Unholy DK, and we're playing with a Holy Pally. There's tons more, but these are personally my 3 favorite 3s comps as a hunter. That pretty much wraps the video up. So if you learned anything, drop a like on the video. It helps a lot. Y'all don't understand. I just actually uploaded a survival hunter the other day, a survival hunter guide, and I took it down because I noticed there was something wrong and completely remade the entire video. I messed up and realized I uploaded the video that had something wrong with it, so I deleted it and took hours and hours to edit this video instead. So if you did drop a like, I really appreciate that. If you want to see more hunter content, definitely subscribe. If you want to do viewer games with my priest or my hunter, come check out the twitch.tv tar_wow. Thanks for watching. Peace out.